based off of conversations I've had, they're essentially attempting to rebuild the roster around him and trying to cater that to his skill set. And if PJ doesn't return, that could potentially completely flip Memphis's plan in the portal. So I think it's very possible that we see a PJ Haggerty decision, regardless of what it is. I think it is somewhat possible. I'm not guaranteeing this, but I think it is possible that we see a PJ Haggerty decision one way or the other before we see a commitment to Memphis from the portal. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I do think that is a pretty big possibility.
So that's a big question, Roman. Yeah. What is, like, lots of reports, people are, what is the chance, like, where would you put Memphis in terms of the PJ Haggerty situation, right? Like, everybody knows Blue Bloods have been tampering with him all year, coming after him. Power 5 schools have been coming after him. Does Memphis have a shot to keep him?
I mean, I'm not going to put a number on it. I'm not dumb enough to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I put a number on it.
We got asked that in the Discord last night, Francis. Give us a percentage. No. Roman, Kenny, give us a percentage. And I was like, hell no. I'm not doing that.
I ain't going to put a number on it, but I will say that based off of everything I've heard about the situation, all the indications that I've gotten, I would be fairly surprised if PJ Haggerty is not a Memphis Tiger next season. Considering, the situation that he's going to be walking into at Memphis, the compensation that Memphis will be able to hand him, not just with its own resources, but Memphis will be getting a lot of outside help. I can... Flash flood warning. Sorry about that, but...
You're good.
Memphis... Not on, like, considering its own resources and the outside help that I'm fairly confident that it will be getting in terms of, getting PJ Haggerty the whatever compensation that he needs there. I'd be surprised if he's not back. I think Memphis is just the better or the best overall situation for him, and I think that his camp knows that. So
I want to put it this. I want to put it this way, and just to kind of give some historical context to the kind of, I think, the kind of people that we're dealing with when it comes to PJ Haggerty's camp, the people that are involved with him. PJ Haggerty is the kind of person that is, and you can tell this based off of the way that he's handled even last year's transfer portal process. He got into the transfer portal and was quite literally the first, I think 365 days ago today, he announced his commitment to the University of Memphis. He was Memphis's first.
Yeah, he committed on April 4th, so 366.
366. So yes, yesterday was 365. There is PJ Haggerty came into that process knowing what he wanted, knowing who he wanted to play, like what kind of a system he wanted to play in, was recruited by Memphis and committed very quickly. The fact that we have not heard a word from PJ Haggerty about him entering the transfer portal, declaring for the NBA draft with the option to come back to school, tells me his silence, the lack of moves, tells me more than him coming out and saying one way or the other, right? Like the speculation is all out there, right? Like the speculation of what he's going to do is out there. But it's the fact that he's still here, hasn't made a specific leap or jump to enter the transfer portal or to enter into the NBA draft with the option to come back. Tells me a lot about it because of what we know about PJ and the people that are directly related to his NIL negotiations, the people that are involved in his decision making. There are a lot of people that claim to be in PJ's camp, talking for PJ.
Yeah, directly involved, like you put it. Directly involved is a perfect way to put it.
Right. There are a lot of people that claim to be directly involved in PJ's process that are not involved in PJ's process. Those people are going to talk to everybody about what's expected and the like the NIL projections of what's to be expected, like what he's asking for. unless you hear it from two people, don't pay attention to it. One of those is PJ, and the other is someone very closely related to PJ. If you're not hearing it from those two, pay no attention to it, because there are people that have access to grind about Memphis, about Penny Hardaway, about former players that used to play at Memphis that they represented, that believe that they have that are going to make phone calls and talk to people and say, I am involved because I'm from Houston, where PJ Haggerty is from. They're not involved. And all they're trying to do is to secure a bag for themselves. That's what I'll say. So I don't know how else to say it other than just to say, allow this process to play itself out without Tiger fans having these ups and downs of like, well, this person said this. Kenny and Roman and Francis said this over at Tigers Live, but look at what this person said. Like this person said this. Well, I'm telling you right now, there are only, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's trending good or trending bad or the percentages or anything like that. But I'm just telling you, there are certain people that are claiming to be involved in that process that are not involved in that process. And so the situation will play itself out. And I am a believer. I am of the mindset, I'm in the same camp as Roman. I would be very surprised if PJ Haggerty is not a Tiger next year. I do believe PJ will probably at some point try to go through the process of an NBA draft situation where he'll talk to teams and get graded and things like that. The fact that he hasn't done that yet also kind of makes me go, well, maybe he's not going to do that. I don't know. I would feel like he would be doing that right now. But if he's playing college basketball next year, I am absolutely confident that it will be for the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, well, I think that's music to every Memphis Tiger fan's ears to hear y'all make those statements, to be confident what y'all are saying. It's music to my ears as well. So, because I love PJ, obviously, we know how good he is. If he does return, and that leads to Memphis getting those 3-and-D athletic wing profile type guys to surround PJ with, I think that would put this roster in a even better position than they were entering this year, because of just the more balanced roster that this team would have if they have a PJ Haggerty, if they're able to get the wings that they have coming on visits to Memphis, and they get the necessary bigs to support those players as well.